Welcome to the Elevate and Explore podcast.
So, a little topic for tonight, passage of time, something, Ryan and I were talking before we got on the call, and, he was mentioning about, his dog that, just passed, and, got me thinking, I told my family, I had originally been saying I'm going to leave in April or May to travel and whatnot, and I finally made up my mind. The dates kept getting pushed around, and I finally set a solid date of March 31st is my last day at the family business.
It's
So
coming up quick.
yes, so that I just look back over the past 10 years that I've been there. If I stayed till May or June, that would be 11 years. And just to think of, like, you and I, we were just in college, we graduated college 2015. That's already 11 years ago. Like, where the heck has the time gone? And I think about what I've definitely accomplished things. I've changed a lot in my life, but that's mainly just in the past 2 years. So let's talk about the prior 8 years then, I guess, it was kind of on repeat. I was actually thinking about this on the way home today, is a lot of my days that I got just sick of is living life on repeat. Get up, go to work, come home, do whatever, work Monday through Friday, do something fun on the weekend, go back to work Monday, and just repeat and repeat and repeat for the past 8-10 years. And, like, not that I would change, not that I want to go back and say I would change things, but moving forward, I don't like living life on repeat thing. I've really loved waking, being in this van. Every day is like a little adventure. I'm not sure where I'm going to be the next day or whatnot, and it's really cool to not have basically the script you have to follow every day. If that makes sense. Yeah, I'm just tired of living life on repeat and just seeing the time pass, and what do I have to show for the past 8-10 years.
It's an interesting topic, and we're coming at this from two different sides of a coin. Most of your life, you were very consistent, and you were in one place, and you did the fun thing on the weekend, but you just go back, and that repetition is what really bothered you.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, I mean, over the last amount of time, my fault was that I couldn't sit still. Right now, I'm cleaning up messes from 10 years ago because I finally have a place to sit still.
Yeah.
I finally have time to be able to do that. So I think it's a give and take. And, for me especially, right out of college, I just packed up whatever could fit in my truck. I think I may have had, no, I don't even think I had a U-Haul. I think I literally just took whatever would fit in the cab of my Chevy 1500, and I drove across the country. And so much so that I think I drove to Wisconsin and Illinois, and I stopped somewhere else before I made it to Kansas City. And I was just on this adventure. I was trying to find something. And at that time, I think I was, 25 maybe, give or take. So at that age, I just thought there was you have time for stuff. You'll figure it out, You don't have to do it all right now. I just want to go have fun. I want to go adventure. I want to go sit at the bar and drink. And, we look at how time has elapsed, and especially just losing Easton, looking back at that, man, the memories, the stuff that we did, the bouncing around, I could tell you a story for about every mile marker across the country if I needed to. And, looking back at that, I have nothing to show for it. I had to start from scratch 3 times, and now I ended up here. And, just sitting here, setting up the shop and cleaning up tools.
Or maybe I'm frozen.
Are you there?
Was I frozen? I'm here. It was cut out for like 10 seconds. I don't know if it was you or if it was me.
Oh. You were smiling at me for a long time.
All right, then I must have froze that time. All right.
I was just
Last
saying,
I
it
got
just,
was mile markers, stories. Not much
yeah.
to show for. What do I have to show
I
for?
didn't have much to show for all the traveling and stories I could tell and the memories that we made, and I still have nothing to show for it. I've started my life over 3 times. Picked up, moved, and started in a different place. I've done it enough now that if I need to do it again tomorrow, I know what to grab. Hell, I've thrown most of it away. I just practically got to pack up a handful of guns and a couple pairs of pants, and I'm off to the races.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess we both kind of said, what do we have to show for? But the biggest thing we have to show for is the memories and the things we've learned throughout that time, the things we know we want, or the things we've learned we want, the things we've learned that no longer serve us, that we've rid from our lives. And so I guess there is a lot to show for, but still some parts of me is like, maybe I could have been a little farther had I gone this direction or that direction. But I don't let those thoughts last too long, because right now I'm so thrilled with the trajectory I'm on, and I no longer waste time like I used to. Whether it be sitting in a bar, wasting freaking money, wasting time, different things like that, or hanging around the wrong people for too long, or just sleeping in and wasting a day away from being too hungover. So there's so many ways I used to waste time, and I've realized how valuable time is. That's the only thing we can never get back. People, pets, time. You can never get it back. You can lose all the money, you can get it back. You can lose a vehicle, you can get it back. You can lose a house, get it back. All those things you can get back, but time is our most precious thing to us. And but yeah, it's just so neat to finally know the path I want to go down and be able to go towards it with the most tenacity and everything in me to accomplish everything I want to do, instead of just kind of wandering aimlessly. Like, yes, I'm
Yeah.
going to be traveling and doing some of the things you did in your younger years, but I feel like I'm not just doing it to wander, I'm doing it with purpose.
And that's, for sure something I had lacked at that time. And, sitting here just reflecting back, I mean, one of the only things I had to live for was, at the time, selfishly I can say, was Easton.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and, it's like, what do you want to do today? You want to go for a walk? Okay, we'll go for a walk. You want to go for a ride? All right, let's go for a ride. And somehow we end up, 6, 8 hours from home, and we just show up into a place, and he didn't know where we were. He had no idea. We just, ooh, I get to smell something different.
Yeah.
And a lot of what I have to show for that is just random pictures and videos, and I can go through this memory bank, and just like stuff in a storage unit that I'm clearing out and trying to find a place for it in my shop. It is, what are you going to hold on to? So if you have this one life, are you going to just cherish what you have right now and hang on to it for the rest of your forever and never have space for something new? Or are you going to, get rid of the things that don't serve you? If it doesn't fall in line with what your vision is for your life, if it doesn't fall in line with what you're asking for a family, there's certain things that you have to face head on and solve. Some things you can just discard. And there's a fine line there. Sometimes, relationships have to have a certain level of thought, and sometimes, maybe don't just quit your job tomorrow. I think you and I both know that. You're I've been known to do it on a whim just because it's like deer season. So, some of these things, they do require thought and intention and planning and, a very good execution to have a proper outcome. But, one of the things I was always told is there's no good decision, no bad decision. So what? You quit your job, you want to get in a van and drive across the country? What's the worst that could happen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, don't drink and drive for one. That's a good start. You won't have problems there. It's take that from my playbook of lessons learned.
Yeah.
So, um, it's time is valuable, but I think also our attention span, our personal health, our mental health and physical health, not so much personal health, I guess mental and physical health, our our time spent throughout a day is valuable. I could tell you, you traveling wherever you are or whatever you're doing right now in the van, I'm having probably just as much fun walking a trap line just
Yeah.
outside my back door because I'm not just because I'm trapping, not just because I'm in the woods, but because I'm grateful for the ability to wake up and go spend my hour in the morning doing something that I'm passionate about. And also, I'm not bitching and complaining because it's not going right. Oh, I didn't catch another GD in Fox or whatever. Just get rid of that mentality. The
You're
other
doing
morning,
it anyway.
I love it now, and it's like, okay, I didn't catch it last night, so I'll figure it out now. I'll try something different, and I'll keep playing the game. And I think that is a huge key component here is don't stop playing the game. Time's short, but your clock doesn't run out tomorrow that you know of. And even if it did, play the game anyway.
Yeah, you have never any idea how close you are. I love that story of the 3 feet from gold. That guy who on that gold mine
hmm
put everything into it and kept digging and digging and digging and couldn't find nothing. Sold it for pennies on the dollar. Another guy came in, started digging, and that last guy was only 3 feet away from millions and millions and millions of dollars of gold. You just if you really want to do something, really want to make it happen, you just gotta go. You never have any idea how close you are, and that's why I've made up
hmm
my mind with what I want to do, and there's no stopping me now. I have the plan set in my head, and earlier you mentioned about what's the worst can happen. Definitely need to think about those things, but I think for a while I was putting too much stock into, well, what's the worst thing that can happen. That's what I was constantly thinking, and I turn around, well, what if it all works out? Think of the best case scenario of what happens. Say, I do all the things I said I'm going to do and put in the hard work and sweat and tears, and what happens when it does all work out. So that's how I'm living my life now is, you know what happens if it does work out.
A lot of people, and I hear it commonly, is, are you a faithful person? Do you believe in faith? They say, oh yeah, I guess. Well, the reality is there's good faith and there's bad faith. You worrying about an outcome or you being pessimistic about an outcome or you being negative towards something is just as much faith as it is to believe that it's all going to work out and you have, this power behind you moving in your direction and trying to align you with good things as long as you are in that path doing good things.
Hmm.
That's one of the beauties of being alive, a human being. I say it often, is the thing that separates us from animals is one major difference. Do you know what that difference is?
We have the ability to make decisions.
We have the power of choice.
Power of choice, yes.
And what does an animal have?
Instinct.
That's it. So an instinct, that is the same thing every day. Eat, sleep, go find food, F around a little bit. Oh, tomorrow I'm going to do it all over again. And quite honestly, they only have to F around, once or twice a year, but depends on the animal.
Yeah.
But human beings, we have the power of choice. And that choice is only given to us. That is what separates us from any creature out there. And it means that we can impact what we do tomorrow. Hell, we can impact what we do right after this. What are you going to do after this call?
Start creating another editing videos that I recorded 2 weeks ago.
And why is that?
Because that's all part of working towards my dream, my goals.
Mm-hmm. Right after this call, I'm gonna go and finish charging my batteries and take out to the shop because I was supposed to do that earlier, and then I ran out of daylight. And then I'm gonna go take care of my chickens. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna try and sit at my computer and finish up a couple things that I didn't do earlier. Because that is directly in line with what I need to do to make sure that tomorrow goes as planned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I've learned is, every day you just gotta do a little something to keep moving the needle forward, to keep taking baby steps to get towards your goals, your dreams, your aspirations. How do you climb Mount Everest? One step at a time. We have these mountains of things we want to accomplish, and as long as you take little baby steps every single day, some days you'll take leaps, some days you'll just freaking crawl. But as long as you just keep moving forward every day, that's the most important thing.
To this day, I still try and climb mountains, those little scuffle chef steps that you do,
Ever
and
since I told you that.
I just can't do it. I'd rather just take big steps than sit for a minute when I get halfway up.
Yeah, I think was that in Colorado when I told you that.
Sure was,
Well,
in about a foot of snow.
little context. Ryan and I were out hunting in Colorado, and we're hiking up and down these mountains. And I tell them the story I had heard from one of my friends who has hiked thousands of miles. And one of the things he told me was, when you're going up a hill, instead of just taking big steps to get up it quick, just take little tiny steps. And I've done that for years now. And instead of stopping for a break every so often, just keep slowly moving forward, one little step at a time.
I like the breaks because then I get to stop and take a picture of the view and
That's true. That's a good way of looking at it. And again,
just a,
there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong way.
nope, just a choice.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes it's almost scary to have all the choices that we do. I mean, literally, we can choose whatever we want. We can choose good. We can choose bad. Um, it's all up to us. There's nobody stopping us from doing whatever we want. It's still wild to me sometimes to think, that I'm 34 and I literally have the choice to go do whatever I want whenever I want. It's crazy.
I love the the conversations. It's like, well, what about your job? That's the first question anybody ever asks when you say something wild. Well, I'm gonna go do this, and they're like, well, what about your job?
Hmm.
You don't care about the woman, the kids, the family at home. No, the first thing you worry about is the job. Where does your
Yeah,
money come from?
that's
So, I guess to the earlier statement about I've traveled the entire country, I've restarted my life 3 times, and I still don't have a dime or a nickel to show for it, it doesn't matter. Money didn't mean anything. The person I am today is probably a heck of a lot better than that guy I used to know. Maybe I didn't know him, but I looked at him in the mirror a time or two.
yeah. Well, you were never a bad guy, just maybe a lost guy, maybe a confused guy, and I've been there too. I never used to look in the mirror. I had no idea who the hell I was. All I knew I liked women, I liked to drink, I liked to have fun. That's all I cared about for in my 20s. Since I got out of high school, that's all I wanted to do was be with women, drink, have fun. Didn't care about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me into some not good, into some bad places, and really lost from myself. And but I learned from it. Learned a lot. I have a ton of stories from all the stupid crap I've done, and you know, I've learned a lot of lessons. Took me a long time to realize and learn those lessons, but looking back, we're like, oh yeah, I did that. Never doing that again. Well, now I know what to do differently instead of that, and I don't regret anything I've done. Um, maybe minor regrets, but nothing like, life's too short to harp on shoulda, coulda, woulda. Would have been
Yeah.
cool to do that, sure, but you know what? Goes back to that thing where, if you hadn't made that left turn and that right turn, you wouldn't be exactly where you are now. And I've mentioned this last week, is right now I feel I'm in the best spot of my life I've ever been, so I don't regret any of the turns I've made.
No, that regret thing is a hard pill to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
And you look back and you realize how bad something hurts, but at least you won't do it again.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, what I have learned from regret, the little regret I do have, a lot of it was from not taking leaps of faith, not taking chances. So that's a massive lesson I learned is, again, going back to this whole, wasted time or the limited time we have is, I no longer live in the what ifs. Now, if I think of something and I think it's really the right thing to do, I'm going after it. Because again, what if it works out? So here in after March 31st, I'll be going with no income, living off of savings, in hopes that I'm gonna, make income from content generation. That's my main goal first. I want to monetize my content generation, and after I get that rolling, money coming in from that, then I'm going to focus more time on Airmos on top of that. But my main goal, once I stop working, is monetizing content generation. So I fully believe I can do it. I've already been working on it for 200 some days now. I'm getting closer every day to being able to, meet the different standards you need to start making money. But I fully believe I can do it. I'm going to be scraping by and, living tight and being scared of how am I going to keep on going for, if it doesn't happen within 6 months or so. Sure. But I can't live with the, well, what if it doesn't work out? I'll figure it out. I know it'll all work out. Whatever happens, I know it'll all be meant to be.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to take that risk. I'm at a point where I'm fully believe in myself, fully willing to bet on myself and go all in and do it.
Well, I believe in you and a lot of other people believe in you. And the bright side is I think positioning yourself into a place where the more people that you can impact and provide value to, there's ways to incentivize that and create money, and money is literally just the exchange of value.
Exactly.
And it's not necessarily time, it's value.
Yes.
And with that mindset, doors will open. And, also there's a lot of praying that goes to it. I've separated from my job, physical W-2 job again. I had a job for 2.5 years almost, and it just got to the point where it was not in line. And we had mutual agreement. I went one way, they went another way. And it was the most liberating, just satisfying feeling on earth.
Yeah.
Some of these stress, frustrations, and struggles I deal with currently have nothing to do with money. It's purely just mental now. I think within a couple days after separating from that job, it was like my income had never skipped a beat. Now, there's times where we don't get paid on time, or
Sure.
we take a little longer to collect an invoice. But aside from that, just provide more value.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about providing value, and that's what I've been working on for the past, well, how many days are in how many months are in 200 days? Just about 6 months. So just providing value and value and value and value every single day. I show up every single day. And, when I first started, I said I'm just doing it to provide value, just doing it to help other people, which I still certainly am. I still want to provide value, still want to provide value and help others. But I miss the whole point of, having a business, doing things is the biggest part of having a business is, making a profit, making money. And I used to tell myself, well, I'm not doing it for the money. Well, you know what? I realized I need to start saying, I do need to do it for the money. I'm doing it to provide value, help people, share different things I've learned, share, about my van life, help other people who might be interested in that, and just provide entertainment. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be doing it for money too. And I think it's a big misconception is, that people might hear that and be like, that's wrong. You should just do it to provide value. Well, to me, that's gonna be my business. So, I have to go after it, looking at it as I want to create a profit from it.
Well, not just a profit, but you got a family to take care of now.
Exactly. That you go, they go and do whatever their normal W-2 job. This is now my job. I'm going to be putting my heart and soul into it. That's another thing is like, there's only so much time in a day. We all get the same 24 hours, but right now, having to spend, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, at this job, being in there, dreading it, and days just dragging by. It'll free up so much more time to put all my energy and effort into the content generation.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. I think
Yeah.
it's fitting for you. I've been
Yeah.
making videos and I struggle still. It's harder than it looks. But I think just like anything, the more you practice, the more you put into it, and the more effort that you try, the better things get.
You're freezing up. You're freezing up there.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hello? Hello?
Go back to when you said, you're posting stuff as well, and then you just went all choppy after that.
Oh, just that I've been posting more content than I ever have, and it's harder than it looks. It's not easy, but like anything, the more you practice, the more you put into it, the better it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, like when I recorded that whole weekend a couple weeks ago when I was up on a mountain. The video ended up being about an hour and 20 minutes long, but I had to go through hours of content. I think I probably spent 4 or 5 hours just editing that video. And
Mm-hmm.
now that one's posted, that one's done. Now I got to move on to the next one that I recorded, in Punxsutawney. So same thing again. I basically spent the whole weekend recording, and now I'll spend a day editing and getting it together. It's not just taking a video and posting it. The shorts is a little easier. I've gotten really good at that. I can pretty much record a video in one take, post it. 30-second to 2.5-minute video. But once you start doing these longs, that's where the work is. That really takes a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Selecting the music, cutting stuff out, lining up. When you do layovers of video of you talking, cutting everything, and creating the cover photo. It's just, but that I actually really enjoy it. The time when I'm doing that, the time flies. I've
Yeah.
realized that it's another thing I've realized is when you're doing something you can't stand, the time tends to drag. When you're
Mm-hmm.
doing something you love, you're like, where the hell did the time go? Like you don't have enough time. At
No,
least
for
that's how it
sure.
works for me.
Time flies when you're having fun.
That's right.
Well, I think our time is coming to an end. We hit a little over a half hour on this recording, and we have, 5 minutes, 10 minutes on the other one.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
All right. Well, I've got chicken chores to go attend to.
All right.
Do you
Well,
see our little
sounds like
babies? I'll have to send you a video you can put in here, but we have 5 little chicks just dancing around in the laundry room.
I've seen the videos of your
Yeah.
Snapchat.
One of them is called a naked neck. He ain't got
What?
no hair. A naked neck. A turkin is what they call it. Not a turducken, a turkin. And they don't have hair from their neck up to their head, and they just look like they have this big wig.
That's wild.
They're ugly and cute at the same time.
And send me a picture.
I will. It's funny.
Well, we should probably throw in an ending.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for another fantastic episode of Elevate and Explore podcast, brought to you by Aramos Outdoor Gear.
Get that plug. Thank you, everybody.
Have a great one.
Bye.